New evidence of a nationwide property slowdown. QV's new monthly figures are out and they reveal that nationwide home values are still increasing, but in some key markets they've stalled. They are on average 9.7% up on this time last year, but rose just 0.4% over the last 3 months. Andrea Rush is QV's national spokesperson. Andrea, what are we seeing in terms of values across the main centres?
Well, Wellington and Dunedin continue to see stronger value growth over the past 3 months than some of the other main centres, but value growth there is easing back a little. In Auckland and Hamilton, we're seeing just a slight increase over the past quarter, while in Christchurch values have actually dropped back a little bit, but really very flat, very small percentage changes in these markets. Tauranga has risen a little bit more strongly over the past quarter than it did in the last month. Yeah, so pretty much a relatively slowing, easing back in value growth across the board in the main centres.
Is this the same picture we're seeing in the regions, or is that different?
The regions, it is different. In both North Island and South Island regional centres, we're still seeing quite strong value growth. And now it's really spreading to some further out areas that haven't seen growth in property values since prior to the previous peak of 2007. Places like Opotiki and Gisborne on the east coast of the North Island and north of Auckland, places like the far north. You know, so that house price inflation is really spreading right out to the furthest places from the main centres
so
now.
It's being shared across the country. Is there any sense of what's driving this? Because this is a very changeable market, isn't it?
Yes, well, we have seen a decrease in demand for property across the board since the introduction of the latest round of LVR restrictions late last year. And that's also been coupled with a strengthening in banks' criteria for lending. So they're making it a lot stricter for people to gain finance, and that's impacting on movers and first home buyers, as well as investors who now need a 40% deposit. So as the demand's gone down, people are looking outside of Auckland to more affordable places in some of these regional centres, and that's driving values up there. Whereas in the main centres, we've had the impact of a lowering in demand and more listings coming on the market in a place like Auckland, where there's actually 50% more properties listed for sale than this time last year. And couple that with a lowering in the demand, and you've got less upward pressure on prices.
It's a very seasonal market too, isn't it, if I understand it right? And winter is a slow time.
Yes, traditionally it is, but over the last couple of years when the market's been very hot in places like Auckland and Hamilton and Tauranga, winter didn't really impact the market, whereas this year, as we're heading into winter, we've seen this sustained slowdown which started with the LVRs late last year, and now we can expect to see that continue right through until after the election, because the election can also have an impact on the property market. Often buyers and sellers decide to wait until after the election before they enter the market.
Great. Thank you very much, Andrew.
Thanks a lot.